All right, welcome back to another episode of Unheard. I am Verol Billett, one of your hosts. We also have...
I'm Jason Henry.
All right, so we are here. You've been listening, you've been watching, I've been seeing the numbers. We appreciate everyone who has been interacting with our videos. So please just like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things so that, it's not just to get our numbers up, but for us to see that persons are listening and it's spreading the word and sharing. We have somebody here with us today, a very special guest. We have Mr. Philip Clarke. Hello, Philip.
Hi, Verol. Hi, Jason.
How you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for having me here today.
So, how much I can tell them about it now?
Enough.
So Philip is a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. He is multidimensional, multi-talented, 2 times Actor Boy Award winner. So that means him can act. Right? He's a great actor, and I'm not just saying that. I mean the awards tell you that. He's also a dancer, choreographer, teacher, lecturer, mentor, speaker, trainer. What else?
Renaissance man.
There's something I'm leaving for last.
Whoa, I like that.
I think if I'm supposed to describe him in one word, which is difficult, he's an artist in its various forms.
Wow. Thank you.
And he is now in a phase where he is into performance coaching. So people, I'm gonna plug him in. You see, if you're anything you have to do on stage in front of people, you can call him.
Yeah. Thanks for the plug.
Right? Call him, message him. He'll give you the details. He has a podcast. He has a YouTube channel. What is it?
Lights, camera, real life.
All right, I'm going to talk more about that. But really and truly, anything you have to do in front of people, whether it's work related, whether you're a singer, dance, or whatever it is, and you have to be in front of people to present and to showcase whatever it is, call him. He will get you to a place where you didn't even think was even possible. All right? So, why are we here today? Today we are here to talk about an issue that many of us as men are afraid to even mention, to even think about. It is before us, whether we like it or not, but a lot of us hush, a lot of us try to sideline it. The other day I was watching a particular video and a man was saying, it's a time of his life where he should be getting this thing done, but he's afraid because of the various connotations related to it, and it's a sociological component, a cultural component. And what is that, guys? Well, today we're going to be talking about prostate cancer. All right? Prostate cancer. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and I think it's good that we're able to talk about it at this time. And as with all the other things that we talk about, it's not just because of the month, but it should be a continuous conversation. So I'm going to go into what prostate cancer is and to share some facts. So first of all, if we're talking about prostate cancer, we need to have an understanding of what prostate is. And the prostate is a small gland that is found only in men. It is located just below the bladder and in front of the rectum, and the main job is to make the fluid that nourishes and protects the sperm. So what that already tells us is that the prostate is very important to what a lot of us as men deem very important to our manhood.
Yes.
Or masculinity. So when prostate cancer happens, that is when the prostate starts to malfunction and it is growing out of control. and it can grow very slowly, but sometimes it can be very aggressive and it spreads very quickly. So it is said that the risk rises sharply after 50. I think we are supposed to start getting our prostates checked once we hit 40.
Correct.
And it is mostly, well, it is very, very common among men of African descent. In fact, it is the most common cancer in Jamaican men and the leading cause of male cancer deaths. New cases based on the registry here in Jamaica, it was 1,561 in 2020, and that was a 25% increase from 2010. The estimated new cases in 2022, 1,599. Mortality rates, 37 per 100,000 men. Yeah, I don't know about you, but that's concerning.
It's important to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I've ever really looked up the stats of prostate cancer. I know what it is about, and I know that it's common among black men. I know about the hesitancy among men to get it checked, but this is definitely something to talk about.
It really puts it into perspective, I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of men actually know those statistics in the sense that they have come to appreciate how much more directly it will affect them. And I say will, because the statistics also say that every man will, I should probably say 1 in 3 will experience an enlarged prostate if you live long enough, which is not to say it is cancerous, because it doesn't have to be cancerous. So what I'm saying is that it's important, whether or not you get cancer, whether or not it's cancerous, to really monitor your prostate.
Right. So, oftentimes, from what I've seen, when the topic of prostate cancer comes up, most times, I'll be hearing it from the standpoint of a medical professional, like the GP or a urologist or an oncologist, talking about prostate cancer. You need to get checked, looking out for what the signs were. Prevention is better than cure, all of that stuff. Early detection and save lives, all of that. But I hardly ever hear the perspective of someone who actually went through it, or somebody who that first-hand experience. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why Philip is here. Philip, I can't express how grateful we are for you to accept the invitation to come on in this space to share your experience.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right, so where do we begin? At the beginning.
Well,
So, I'm assuming you were happy-go-lucky going through life, and then something happened. Is that it? How did you come to find out that there was at least that irregularity with your prostate?
well, actually, happy-go-lucky is one way of looking at it, but not necessarily, because my father actually died from prostate cancer. So I was already conscious about how it might affect me. And I have 3 brothers. So it's 4 of us as males in our family. And so the minute my father was diagnosed with it, I started to read up about it.
How old were you when he died?
I was in my 30s. Yeah, I was in my 30s thereabout. And I started doing some research about it, and then I learned that it can be hereditary, and so it can be passed on to your children. So of course, I wouldn't say I started panicking, but I became concerned or conscious of the fact that, okay, this may affect me at some point in time. But I was in my 30s, so I said, I have time. And the statistics say when you reach 40, you're supposed to check. But it's funny enough, when my father was diagnosed with it, I think my father told us late, because apparently he was diagnosed and did not tell us. And so when I heard, it was in fact very late.
Okay.
And so I started taking him to the doctor. Well, I started taking him to the doctor at different points in time. And I got to experience the pain from his perspective. I got to see how it was demolishing my dad, you know. And so that's a painful experience. And so when I go with him, I would ask the doctor, you know, what's happening, you know, what do we do now, what's the process, and so forth and so on. The very last time I went to him, he wanted to now do the surgery, and at that point it was too late. And he was in extreme pain, and so the doctor spoke to me about it, and I resolved right there and then, you know, you're gonna have to make sure you check yourself, and you know, this is not going to happen to you, because the doctor was very adamant with me about it, and he kept telling me about the fact that, you know, make sure you tell your brothers, because you know, this is something that could affect them as well. And so I was always conscious of it. As a matter of fact, there is something called prostatitis that sometimes men get.
Okay.
Yes, and you can get that in your 20s, 30s as well.
You know what that is?
And prostatitis is a type of an enlargement of the prostate.
Prostate, okay.
And it's an infection too, right? And I remember going to the urologist twice, because I was wondering what was going on. I mean, I felt like my, what do you call it now, the scrotum was burning and that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, sir, this sounds serious. And when I went, and I was urinating a lot, so I said, Lord have mercy, but when I'm at 30 something, I'm supposed to get them something I know. When I went, the doctor said to me, prostatitis sometimes happens when you hold in your urine for too long.
Okay.
And as a result of that, that's what causes the infection. So he would ask me, do you drive a lot? And you know, you drive long journeys and you hold the urine. And I could recount things like that, because I used to do a lot of that.
That just came to mind.
And so holding in your urine for a very long time can actually cause an infection of the prostate, causing prostatitis, but it is not cancerous. Okay?
Good to know.
So that is when I actually started now to read up more on the prostate and try to investigate what is really happening in my body. Then when I turned 40, of course, I started doing my checks, and 40 up to 43, I was good. 43, I did a regular checkup. My doctor said, Philip, I am not a urologist, but I think you should go and check this out, because the PSA is a little bit above. It was at the time over, your PSA is supposed to be between 0 and 4. And at the time it was climbing into 4, above 4 thereabouts. So she said, you know, just check it out. It might not be anything, because sometimes, you know, for example, there's certain exercises that you do, for example, riding, can actually increase the PSA level in your prostate, right? And high PSA is an indicator of the possibility of prostate cancer. So the normal PSA is supposed to be 0 to 4. So like riding, she says, can cause that. Exercise can cause that. Having sex can give you a rising number. And of course, it will go back once, that is complete. But if it is progressing, then you need to go and check it out. So she said, I think you should book an appointment with a urologist.
So this was like you've done an executive and you saw the PSA, or
right? Sorry. So I would normally do an executive every year once I turned 40. So when I turned 43, this is when she picked it up, and I did the necessary checks. Went to the urologist. The urologist said, "Yes, this is concerning," and he did the digital test. You know what the digital test is?
Talk to us about the digital test.
So, of course, I was very skeptical about the digital test because this is when you use, I didn't know that your fingers were called digits. But anyway, these are the digits. And they have, the doctor uses a glove, and they insert this into your anus. Now,
you showed 2 fingers somewhere.
It was one. I think it was one. Yeah, it was one. Sorry. My bad. It was one. And like everybody else, I was a bit uncomfortable with that because that's not something that I would find accommodating or comfortable. For the reason being that, you see, as men, we're very private with our bodies. And we're certainly very private with our anuses. And even to have a woman go down there and do that, it was still an off-putting issue for me, right? Because that's not something that you do. You just don't do that. And I remember when my father was told that he needed to do surgery, and his response at the time was, "Man, I only hug get cut." So my father was a countryman, and my father was born in like the 1920s. So a big, me I talk about now. And when the doctor proposed that to my father said, "Man, I only hug get cut here, man, nothing get cut." Because he likened it, and a lot of men probably likened it onto being castrated.
Wow.
That's what the surgery means to a lot of men. And I'm sure that's now changing. But you castrate pigs, and my father was a farmer. You castrate pigs when you don't want them to reproduce anymore. So, as you spoke about manhood. So going down there to operate on the man is going to make him sterile.
Man frame.
Okay? And that is not what no man, no Jamaican man wants. Okay? And so when he said that to me, I was remembering now when the doctor was going to do the digital test. Anyways, in my mind, I said to myself, "Me no want what happened to my father happen to me," because he was in a lot of pain. And me just make up my mind, say I'm gonna just do it. And he did the test, and he said, "Well, there's a lump there, but we have to do a biopsy to make sure." And the biopsy is that test now that actually takes a piece of your flesh and take it to the lab and then examine it for cancerous cells. So in my head, I said, "A biopsy? What's a biopsy? What?" It's gonna be. The doctor said it's gonna be a smooth procedure, man. Don't worry about it. We're going to put you under anesthesia, And so it will work. It will fine. I said, okay. So where you taking the sample from?
Yeah.
Man said, I'm taking the sample from the anus. I said, okay. Wow. I was shocked. I was terrified. I was like, but you're not gonna feel anything, man. You're not gonna feel anything, it's gonna be, you're gonna be sedated, that kind of thing. When we got a biopsy, you see, and this is not to scare anybody, but I'm just telling my experience. All right. When I went to the biopsy, the man injected me several times with that thing, what you call it?
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia. I don't know if something wrong with me or what, but I clearly don't have a very good reaction to these things. And so I need a whole lot of these things to sedate me. So when the man started, he said he gave me a time to just settle down and relax until it started to take effect. Came back, and he started working on me. I said, no, you have to stop. No, you have to stop, because I feel pain on that. So. He said, you're feeling pain? How come? I said, I'm feeling pain, doc.
Wow.
Whatever he was doing down there, no, it was really horrible. It was really horrible. And
this is just a biopsy.
He put more on it. He gave me more injection, and he says, of course, there's a legal amount that you can get. I'm sorry, but it never worked out for me. Apparently, I have a high threshold, or it's a low threshold for pain.
Low threshold for pain.
Yeah, and he eventually finished with it. Gentlemen, at the end of that process, I was numb. I was numb. I felt
numb, and it's not because of the anesthesia. It's just an emotional numbness.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a solemn moment for me. And I had to call a friend of mine to come and get me, because I could just barely walk, and I walked myself to the car and got home. But I kept saying to myself, okay, if this is really so, is this the start of the process? And I think from that point in time, I started to develop a mental defense mechanism because of what I was going through. Now, you've never experienced anything like that before, but it's necessary. So you have to sort of mentally prepare yourself to go through this. So from that time, I started to really cover myself mentally to try to go through this situation, because I have to, and I want to make sure that everything is fine. Anyway, the results came back, and it was cancer. Cancerous.
So you saw what your father was going through, or what your father went through. Then a few years later, bam, there's an indication that this was a possibility. You did readings. You said that there's some mental work that was going on. When you got that diagnosis now, Philip, like, did the preparation even made any sense?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When the man told me, I looked straight through him. I was somewhere else. No, you're not talking to me.
Somebody else.
So he's talking and he's saying all what he's saying, and I said, oh, okay. But Philip is not registering anything. I hear it. And I will tell you something, that I went into denial. I went into denial for 1 whole year.
Okay, I did not expect that.
Okay.
I did not expect that.
Okay. Now this is dangerous. What I did was very dangerous. What I did, I could have come back the next year and it would have been stage, what, I don't know, 4 or maybe 5. It could have been, because the more aggressive it is the faster it grows. And the statistics say that if your father had it, it's usually the more aggressive one that you're gonna get.
Okay.
And as I told you, my father died from it. And yet still I went into denial.
Did you tell anybody?
I told one person who was another doctor as well. Yeah, I called him and I said, I just wanted to, ask you what you think about this.
This was within the year of denial or after?
No, it was within the year. It was right after I was told, but
Okay.
But it's like it was fresh. But I said, because you don't believe it, you're asking another doctor to sort of give you some idea what, if it could be real or you're trying to make sense of it. And the doctor said to me, Philip, the truth is, if it's a slow growing one, I mean, most men don't die from prostate cancer. Most men die from some other complication because it takes a long time to get to that stage. And I was like, I don't know, how do you handle this now? I don't want to grow old with some sickness that's growing inside of me. And then again, I don't know how fast it's growing. But I don't know how, I can't tell you. After saying that to the person, what happened in my head. All I can tell you is that I went about my life as if nothing happened. So a lot of people around me were thinking I was fine. And I looked fine because I didn't have any symptoms, Like, the symptoms, one of the symptoms is urinating often, especially at night. Pain when urinating. I had none of those issues.
So did you, in a sense, convince yourself that you're fine?
I was trying to tell myself that I'm fine. Yeah, I don't know if I convinced myself, because when I'm alone, it would come back.
I was going to ask that.
When I'm alone with myself, I would say, okay, remember that thing, what you gonna do about it? In the meantime, though, I did do some more reading about it. Try to understand what it's all about, and also to try to understand the different treatments. Because there were several different types of treatments that I wasn't even aware of before. I went to 2 conferences on prostate cancer as well, and tried to get the information directly from the urologist, from the surgeons themselves, to help me understand what really is happening. So, yes, it was denial, but it was also, trying to understand it as well, to see.
Exploration.
Yeah, but I think I was trying to understand it to make sure if it me really have or I somewhere else. Because you're trying it, and I think that's part of the denial, to reason it away. Rationalize it. Anyways.
I don't think it's no longer fully denial. Probably at first it was denial. And then, because it's still there, there's an acknowledgement, so you're kind of rationalizing it out and it's getting information to figure.
Especially because you're not having any drastic symptoms. You're doing well, okay. You're still having an erection. You don't have an issue with that. So now, when it was, the doctor had a friend who was a friend of mine as well, and he told him as well. And the friend called me and said, Philip, what happened? What are you doing? What are you doing about this? Philip, you can't do that. How you can do that, Philip? What is... no, Philip, you can't do that. And hell break loose. And so I started getting a lot more conscious again, and sometimes a little bit nervous. On the job, I was not always, I was putting on a great front, because now it was beginning to sink in. And so I had to now act out. Verol told you earlier that I'm an actor. So I had to put on some Oscar award performances
deep, right?
For this now. So I was really in that mode now. And asking myself, okay, Philip, you know, you have to tell the people that are important to you, you have to do this. Because this is serious now, and you have to take matters into your own hands, and you have to do something about it. Okay. So I had to deal with all of that. And eventually I started seeing the doctor who diagnosed me, and he proposed the invasive surgery. You know, there are several types of surgeries, and I learned this as I went along. And the invasive surgery is one where that's the possibility now. My father spoke about being castrated.
Right.
That's the possibility of losing your manhood, so to speak. You're losing your erection and, of course, your ability to have children if you so desire, or if you don't have done yet. And so I read up on that one and started saying to myself, then how am I gonna handle that? I'm young, energetic. How does that gonna work out? I'll be an invalid.
How old are you at this point?
I am 51.
Okay.
So you're 51 now, but at this point you're...
Then?
Sorry, yes, he said then.
Oh, I was 43.
43.
And that's why it's important. I hear people talking about that you have to wait until you're 50. While I went through my process, my doctors were telling me that the cancer was coming up in males in their 30s.
Oh, really?
Yes, it has happened in your 30s.
So would you say maybe check even before 40?
35. That's what they're now saying.
Good to know.
And there are probably other factors that are leading towards that. I am not sure, but because initially, you know, when the doctor, the urologist, diagnosed me, he said to me, he also was shocked. He said, but Philip, you're a young man. I don't understand. That's why they had to do multiple checks.
Okay.
And that's why I also insisted to do multiple checks, because I kept hearing, you're a young man.
It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. So I'm telling myself, this shouldn't happen, this shouldn't be happening, this shouldn't be happening, you're not. And that is what was happening to me while I think I moved into denial as well.
Okay.
You know, because 43 is just not the age. 50 and upwards is the statistics talk about 50, 60 and upwards.
But I've always heard, from I got to know what prostate cancer was about, by the time you hit 40, you're supposed to start getting yourself checked.
Because new research comes up every day, and that's what led it to change from 50 to 40.
I know you're saying
And
it is possible in the 30s.
it is possible. It is not prevalent, but it is possible. And so that invasive surgery would have changed my life. And I don't know what kind of life that would have been. Because, as they say in Jamaica, man a man.
And you've been a very active human being
Absolutely.
for your entire life.
Absolutely. So it was really now encroaching on my mental strength and mental health. My capacity to handle all of these things was really being tested. Yeah, because I'm now looking at myself as an individual, what I was, what I am, you know, who I am, and then all this is going to change in a split second. I don't know if I can deal with that. So I do understand when men have to go through these things. I do understand the gamut of thoughts that run through your head, you know. And I came upon the same friend who stopped me and said, you know, you need to look at this. He met another surgeon who does the laparoscopic surgery, which is the laser type surgery now, which apparently is not as invasive,
It's less invasive
as the invasive surgery. And by invasive we mean that it does not affect as many of the
nerves.
nerves
Okay.
and capillaries.
Oh, this is the laparoscopic.
Yeah.
Right.
Because what happens is that when they go in to do the surgery and they take out the prostate, around the prostate has all of these nerves, ones that give you direction for blood flow and those kinds of things, all of these things, and blood vessels. And so it is likely that when you do such a surgery that you will damage one or more of those blood vessels.
And the nerves and stuff.
And so that is a risk that is involved in the surgery.
The invasive surgery.
Yeah, right. So the laparoscopic surgery now is much, much less invasion. And they also say to you that if you catch it early, the recovery is better. The recovery time is better. I think the research is that 40% of the men who do the surgery, you know, may experience erectile dysfunction. But that 40% is also dependent on your overall health as well. So if you're suffering from things like diabetes, high blood pressure, and all those other things, then that can affect the recovery rate and the quality of recovery that you have.
Makes sense.
My surgeon was very hopeful because, as you mentioned, I was very active. You know, my body was more or less very fit, and the first surgeon also said he had to sit me down. He had to sit me down and say, "Sir Clarke, don't blame yourself for what is happening." Yeah, he had to give me that talk because he realized that I was kind of sounding off for a little bit. And I was, as I said to you, when I read about invasive surgery, you know, I'm like, my life is going to change. So I was, when talking to me, he said, you know, you can't blame yourself. Nothing is wrong with you other than this thing, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault that this happened. You didn't do anything in order for it to happen. It's just the way it goes, because generally speaking, because they did a lot of tests on me to test my heart, test everything, my reflexes, and they said, but you're in top condition. This is the only problem that you have, and we're going to deal with it, you know?
So, question, the decision to move forward, do you think when you found the courage, I guess, to share, or you were more willing to share with those persons who formed your support system, do you think that helped to push you to the point of, okay, all right, this is going to be done?
Yeah, a support group really helps, because after he, you know, approached me about it, I realized that, you know, he cared enough, and he went as far as, you know, got the opinion of another surgeon, which is the laparoscopic surgeon, and gave me the number for me to call the person directly and have a conversation with the man. And I was so grateful for that, because, you know, he spoke to me and then he said, come and see me. But I also started to decide who I'm going to tell. Because I know I'm going to need the support. So I told a few people, including my mother and my sister. And funny enough, my mother did not react dramatically at all. This was funny. It was an interesting reaction. My mother didn't freak out at all.
Okay, your
I'm
sister.
trusted that everything would be okay.
I have no idea. I don't know if it's because... You see, my father passed from it, and she went through a lot with that.
Mm.
I suppose she was probably numb too, and I told her what I was gonna do about it, and she said okay. And she wished me all the best with it, but she also made sure that I drank the required teas, herbal teas, in the meantime. So she prepared them for me, and she always giving them to me. She was doing it before, actually. Yeah, she was always doing. She was just making sure that I, drink them, and I just hope for the best.
How was your sister? What was her reaction?
They were also very supportive, but at the time, another sister was going through another surgery, so a heart surgery actually.
Oh.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on there. And then my brother, eldest brother, I understand, did the surgery and didn't say anything to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like this is like a kind of trend of men, like again, like kind of keeping things to
Just
themselves.
doing things,
Yeah. It happens. Ladies, we're sorry. Just joking.
Yeah, but I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset with him. I just felt that this was now my journey, and this is how I'm going to deal with it.
All right. So you got to the point where you decided on which path you're gonna take, and that was the laparoscopy. What was preparation like, and so on, and the actual? Well, I don't know if I can ask about the actual surgery, or what you were told.
Well, we had to. My doctor was very thorough. He kept doing a lot of tests on me, because of course I said to you, it was a year now that has passed since I was diagnosed. So when I went to this new doctor, he had to do this test all over again to make sure that he has all the information. So I had to do MRIs, I had to do blood tests, I had to do CAT scans, I had to do a heart test.
Did you have to do the biopsy again?
No, I didn't have to do the biopsy again.
Did you know like what stage it was in?
Stage 1.
Okay, just checking.
So it
remained at stage 1.
So it remained at stage 1 for a year. And the doctor said to me, "You're lucky, Mr. Clarke. You are lucky. It has not moved at all."
That's the tease at work.
I would like to think so, because I really took her advice. I was drinking them. Yeah, I was really drinking those teas. I don't know if you can advocate that on the free program, but I'm just telling you that I was drinking them, and part of the...
Your doctor was aware that you're drinking them?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
No, he wasn't. As a matter of fact, I think I probably in my mind felt like, I hope when he tests me again, it's gone. I was actually waiting for a miracle. Like, I wonder if he can tell me, say, it's not there anymore. But he said it was there, and it was very small, and it had not moved. It was like the size of a pea, or less than that. And the road to that now, there was the whole issue of my decision to have or to not have children. that had conversation had with me, was had with me. And so he recommended that if I'm going to if I plan to have children, to freeze my eggs by sperm. Eggs. By sperm. So I went to the, what do you call it now? Fertility unit at UA. Yeah. But I sat in there and I was just thinking about my life. And I was like, what do you really want to do? Who do you really want to be? And what is it that's going to define you? You know, there are several things that went through my head. And as a result of that, it was taking a long time, you know, to happen, and I just left. Right, so at this point, I now decided I'm going to do the laparoscopic surgery and to prepare myself for that. And part of it was the decision not to whether I'm going to have children or not. And eventually decided that, you know, I'm not going to bother go through with this. However, you know, in my body, I felt different. I can't explain to you. I cannot explain it to you, but also the decision of what kind of quality of life I'm going to live after this, in terms of finding a partner, in terms of, you know, being able to service their needs and so forth and so on, and whether or not my needs are going to be met. These are very important questions that I never really discussed with anybody. And you asked me about the process. It was, for the most part, lonely. And it's lonely because I never really got a chance to talk about what I really was thinking about and feeling.
Feelings of thoughts.
Yeah, because, you know, and I told people, you know, some people started to cry and so forth and so on. However, most people say, you know, Philip, I don't see death, I see life. I think you're going to get through this, and you're going to get through this really well. So there was a positive
that wasn't
response
sufficient.
from my, but my personal thoughts and how I deal with my personal thoughts, I don't think I got enough time to deal with that. And this is important for any man who is going through this. I strongly recommend that the urologists or the health professionals that are associated really talk to men about that aspect of it. There are some men who have it, who have had children, okay? A lot of men who get diagnosed with prostate cancer have had children. But it is the relationship with their manhood, it's that concept of life, because you do know that testosterone, the hormone testosterone, really is responsible for the drive that you have in pursuing your goals. And so when a man loses his testosterone, it can be detrimental to his success,
his entire well-being.
His entire well-being. And so those are some of the things that I don't think are discussed enough. It's not just, oh, a man is so afraid of the digital test and I'm gonna push him finger up, and you know, it's not so much that, but it's also, you know, trying to come to terms with who you are as a man.
So what I'm hearing is that it would be helpful if, as part of the team of experts, there should be some form of therapy, counselling, in preparation. So the moment there is the diagnosis is made, all right, what does this mean? Of course, urologists would do their own teachings and whatnot, but the processing of that information, what does that mean? No.
Yeah.
And then as they're going along, there is the continuous conversation, continuous therapy about, okay, how are we dealing, how are we coping, what's your support system like, and then post, you know, after the surgery, what? No.
Oh yeah, definitely after the surgery. Definitely after the surgery,
What
there needs to be a lot more. I suffered a lot. I lived alone, and I had friends who would come by and stop in with me now and again. And I was wearing a catheter that was attached to the penis in order for, well, I was attached, it was also attached to my side here, where blood had to be drained out. And I had to drain it out and measure it and tell them how much. Yeah, so there was that. And that process was not good. I didn't deal with it very well. And so a lot of people might have families, and you know, they have people who can help them along with those things. I dealt with all those things by myself. I think I'm a warrior now. I think, you know, there's nothing I can't do now, because I'm telling you, it felt like when a man goes to war and he has to patch himself up by himself. I did all of that. I saw my blood dripping through this bag, and I had to take it out and do all these kinds of things, and
then when I
attach it back.
When I touch this, the bathing and the hygiene stuff and the eating,
All
when I
those,
touch that,
all those things, you know, it's a whole work.
could you sleep?
I slept, but it was very difficult. It was very difficult. I was weak most of the times, you know, and then the catheter started to, I don't know, it's like it act up, and it's an infection, and so every time I urinated, it would burn like hell. To one point I just pulled it off. And I'm not supposed to pull it off, and it was just, you know, wetting out the place, and then I had to go to the doctor, and in the midst of waiting for the doctor, I wanted to urinate, and it was crazy because it was burning like hell. I mean, I brought the whole hospital down. Okay, and if you know me, I am not soft. My voice goes everywhere. And I mean, they had to come and get me in the bathroom, and I accidentally locked myself in the bathroom. So I had to crawl on the floor to open a door, and then they had to come in, and it was just crazy. So they had to teach me now, you know, the different KAHLE exercises to strengthen my bladder area. So that, yes. And then after that, I had to wear Depends, as you call pull-ups. And you see this, let me say, watch out, look at me wearing Depends. So you see that mental journey, that shift. To be wearing a Pampers, so to speak, at that age. And everybody was telling me, yeah, Philip, you're gonna recover well because, you know, you're fit and everything. But then that's one recovery. There's this recovery.
The recovery of like the self-image.
Yeah, and the truth is, I did that privately. So nobody doesn't really know until this conversation right now, really.
That was the other thing I was gonna ask you, because I'm like, I don't know if you had told like a lot of people before, or you had just decided now to want to talk about it. So I was wondering, like, why now, or why then, or whenever you started.
I have been asked to speak to, as a matter of fact, the urologist who operated on me, he calls me all the time and asks if I can speak to his patients. Yes, to counsel them. Yeah, they actually called me and said, would you be willing to talk to my patient? He's very nervous, he's very anxious about doing XYZ. Could you speak to him for me? And I always volunteer. But I've never in a public forum spoken about it. There's one moment when I received my second Actor Boy Award, and I received it what was it now? I did the surgery the February, and I would have gone back into rehearsal and that kind of stuff. And I did a play in November of that year.
You're a warrior.
So this is right after the surgery, so to speak. And then I got the award in March of the next year. So I was telling them in my acceptance speech that my colleagues who played alongside me didn't know that I had just done surgery. I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them at all, so they didn't know. And I was battling recovery at the time, because I even kept coming home after rehearsal and saying, Philip, you sure you know what you're doing? Because
Does it sound like you pushed your
yeah,
body, your
you
mind?
probably need to be resting. Are you sure you should be doing this?
But I think it's because I know you. I don't think that if you just stayed home and just rested,
Yeah,
you'd have rested
Yeah.
and you'd have recovered.
yeah, yeah.
Good point.
Because going back to the stage of where you're now, where it depends and so on. As a man, you're doing everything for yourself. You get up and you go. You get up and you do. You do. So independence. That's what that is about.
Absolutely.
And then you're forced, so to speak, to go back to childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one morning I was going to work, and I decided I'm not going to wear the defense this morning because I'm going to test myself. I think I'm ready, and halfway through I had an accident and I wet myself up in the car. And that was, I'm just glad I shared it by myself, because how do I put this down? I had to come face to face with the reality of what has happened to me, where I am, and how I'm going to take the steps now to just heal. Because I think what happened was I didn't allow myself to heal slowly enough. You just want to get back out there and do what you want to do, because that's what we do, that kind of thing. You want to get back out there and do your thing, and then it's like something will say, hey, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And I went back home and I called him and said, I'll be late. I don't think, did I go back to work? I don't remember. But I took some time with myself. And it's just to say that the mental struggle, the mental pressure of dealing with all of that can take a toll. I have spoken to several other men after that who I was recommended to speak to. And all of them have children, but they still have the fear. And I said, I understand. Because we are, and you have to acknowledge this, we are connected to our penises. Okay? It's just our manhood. Actually, there's a chapter of my book that I'm writing called My Relationship with My Penis. And in that, I talk about my how I discovered myself. And I think what I try to do is to talk about why it's important, why men believe it's important that our penis is in good health. I don't think we talk about it enough. I don't think we use the word enough. I mean, penis. But what I'm just trying to say is that these conversations, you don't find men participating in it, because the truth is, we have a relationship with our penis that is probably a greater relationship than with food.
That's crazy. But kind of true. It's kind of true.
I mean, it defines, if you're honest, it defines everything that we do. When you
Yeah,
think about a man, who a man is or what makes a man, the penis.
We think that if we remove that, we're nothing.
Yeah.
What are we?
What are you?
Or it's not just the penis, but a working penis, which is...
Well, a working penis, a non-working penis is no penis.
Right.
Okay, so let's just get it correct.
Erection and stuff, right? It's very, very central to our identity.
Yeah, and I had to come to terms with that as well, because I had a nutritionist who I told, a confidant, and she said to me, this was before I did the surgery, she said to me, Philip, what's more important? She looked me in the eye and asked me, what's more important? You're so caught up with your manhood as if that is all that defines you?
Mm.
Is that all that defines you?
A good point.
Or maybe you should consider thinking about being in a coffin with a stiff manhood.
Damn.
Okay.
Triple.
Damn.
No, she said it right. She said it to me like cold as ice. She gave it to me. How would you like? What would you like? She said to me, you're a man who has a lot inside you, which is much more than what you have between your pants.
Mm.
So why are you going to define yourself based on this thing? Why are you going to do that? I had to take some time out to deal with that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, and I think it's a conversation that a lot of men should have with themselves and with each other, because the truth is, we call it all kind of names: snake, sword, weapon of mass destruction, gems, jewels. It is valuable to us, but is it what defines us?
Yeah. I think I think what your friend asks is a really good question, because, and technically we did allude to it just a while ago, just before you said it. Like, if you take that away, that testosterone away, that like the penis away, what are you? There are things, aren't there? But I think because the testosterone flows into all of these different things,
Well,
it kind of makes it difficult to even extract one thing from another. So there's a difficulty there.
correct.
But your friend's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, though, is a direction possible after the surgery?
Yes, it is.
Thank God.
Because you have to be honest, persons are going to ask.
Yes, it is. And of course, it was my concern. And so the doctor, gave me on put me through a rehabilitative process, where this was now where he put me on what we call Viagra, Cialis, and I was just to take it for that process. Because I wasn't having sex, but I had to take it for that particular process. And so he would check upon me to find out if I'm having any stiffness in the area, if especially in the mornings. And I told him when I started to have those stiffness, and he said, wow, you are way ahead than most men. Yeah, so I was like, okay.
So it's leading back to the general health that you had before.
Absolutely. But it's funny enough, after a while I forgot about it.
Interesting.
After having that conversation with my friend, my nutritionist, I just started working on me. I actually told myself before I came out of the hospital that, okay, Philip, when you leave, you're going to do the best to just work on yourself. Work on your physical health, work on your goals and your dreams. Because I look at it, by the time if we get to old age, we're not going to have any use for our penis other than urinate. And sometimes you don't even have no use because it's involuntary sometimes based on what happens to an old man. But what would be what a grandchild remembers about their grandfather? You follow me? Just think about that.
The character of the man.
Yeah, what would you pass on? And so I said, I'm going to work on that. I think I have been working on it. I think prior to the surgery, but consciously now.
Yeah.
I am going to work on what am I leaving behind? What am I sharing with people? The essence of who I am I leaving that with people? And so that's what I started to do. So I started to stop thinking about my physical appendage and started to focus on what's going on with me. And I think that also helped. Because I just went out and I had fun, and I, at a certain time I had to leave because I don't want things to start happening. I can't drink alcohol because that makes it worse. And just try to manage yourself.
So there are conscious effort in making sure that your decisions work in your favor, and you live a life where you can leave a good legacy behind.
Absolutely.
Okay. Wow, Philip?
I have one other thing.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Alright, so, well, it's weird. I was about to do what you just did. This kind of summation. I felt that kind of summation thing, but anyway. But, yeah, because, like, the story, wow, incredible, right? And I don't just say that just from, like, an entertainment standpoint. I mean, it's also from a, I want to check myself kind of standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
You have to?
Well, yes. Yes, but also in terms of just like the psychology of it, in terms of just like, who am I without this? And, like, would you be able to handle something like that? Because, like, again, that contrast from, hustling and bustling, you're doing your thing, you're making moves, and then feeling so, like, cramped in terms of what you cannot do, things you took for granted. Things that were just so everyday, simple, now becoming so complicated, almost like a regression in a way. I'm thinking the question that popped up in my mind is like, after you were saying like, I want to be like, I want to kind of transform in certain ways, like, how has your behavior changed in terms of who you were prior to the diagnosis and who you are now?
A good question. Well, for one, I don't waste any time now in telling you how I really feel. Because I realized that I came so close to death's door, so to speak. I came so close because anything could have happened, You know that, and you go into surgery, you go under the knife, anything could happen. And then secondly, it made me focus on trying to give myself grace, to take care of myself and to be nice to myself, because prior to that, I don't think I was taking care of myself a lot, even though I was simply physically, I wasn't really taking care of myself, meaning taking care of my entire being, my well-being. I wasn't doing that a lot. And I said, I need to focus on that. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And also, I'm going to also do the things that I want to do in terms of my goals and my dreams. That's how I think now. I'm not afraid of death. And I realized then that I'm not afraid of death. Because not only I understand that it is imminent, but while in the hospital and having to deal with all of those things and seeing my blood all over the place and all those kind of things, I realized that, well, you're not metal, you are fragile. So thank God, though, that you still have some stability left. And so I'm more grateful about the fact that I'm alive and here, rather than thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to die. No, I don't. No. That's how I live my life now. And I want people not to fear death, but to fear not giving themselves the opportunity to grow and live.
So, with this phase of your life, I know you've stepped a lot into performance coaching. So you've been on the stage, you've done the stage, you continue to pursue the stage.
Yeah.
But you've also stepped into performance coaching and seriously advocating for the arts, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, did that experience push you into this space, or this was something that you always
No,
wanted?
it was something that before. But I'm more concerned now about the mental health of performers, about artists. I find that I'm keyed into that now, where I try to find out what's going on with artists. We are taught to live in the limelight. We're taught to be the light in the room, the drama, the energy. And I thought about that when I was in hospital as well. Like, we're taught to be that kind of person. And as I was telling you prior to the surgery, how I was putting on a whole show, nobody would have known. Oh boy.
Okay, so now you have the performance coaching. What is performance coaching? What do you do?
Okay, so performance coaching is where I coach or I guide a performer, whether it's a speaker, a dancer, poet, singer, actor. I guide the person in how to get the best out of their performance or their presentation. And I guide them through recognizing what their body is, where they are on the stage, where they are in their development of their own career. Because I get inside as well. I'm not a psychologist, but I do use my experience from being an actor to get inside, because when you're doing characterization work, you have to get into the mind of the character. And so I use that to get into the mind of the individual that is in front of me, to get them to ask themselves questions, because I don't answer the questions. They answer the questions about who am I, where do I want to go, what do I want to do, how do I want this to turn out. And I find with coaching is that it gets the individual to not just identify how I can get the best out of my performance, but it gets the individual to become a better communicator with the use of their body, their eyes, their face, the stage, their costume, their space, and even light and sound. How can I use everything to my advantage? So it gets the performer to become more confident, of course, because if you now are able to identify the things about you that shine and can get the best out of the audience, because the aim of you as a performer is to communicate your art to the audience and to get the audience to respond and to feel like this was great, and they need to make the audience enjoy what they're there to see. So it builds confidence. It also helps the performer to teach themselves, okay, how do I prepare? How do I prepare for my next performance and the next performance? And what I always tell them is that each performance is different, because each audience is different.
Yeah.
So you have to do your research, study the audience. If you're going to a different environment, a culture, what are they, how do they respond to certain things, and so on, so that when you go on stage, you don't feel as if you are fish out of water. You want to be able to take charge of the stage, but the first thing you have to do is take charge of your body. So I teach the performer how to come to terms with their body, accept what their body is, whether it's, what you call it, tall, or you can use short now, or or big or thick or whatever it is. You use everything to your advantage, because I always say everybody is unique. And I came to the show because there's a reason I came to see you. So that thing that is going to shine is what I focus on. So if you have a good voice, forget about the fact that you don't look like Idris Elba. Forget about that. It's the voice. So I'm going to teach you now how to get the most out of combining that voice with the body. I'm not a voice coach. I must be clear. I'm not a voice coach. I'm not a vocal coach at all. But if you already have the talent, I will now get you to use all the different other elements
That makes a
to
performance.
push to make a performance, a good
Okay.
performance.
And I know you have your podcast, Lights, Camera,
Yeah.
Real Life.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was gonna say that, one of the things that I do in helping artists to look more at the mental health side of their journey is through the podcast.
So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So the podcast is called Lights, Camera, Real Life. This is where we get into the world of people to get them to talk about the not so glamorous part of their lives. Because on the stage, everything is glamorous and spectacular. And, we see the best of you.
But behind the scenes.
But behind the scenes, which is real life, the lights and the camera don't come there. And so I want people to sort of tell us how you did it. How you did it. I know people don't even know that so-and-so did happen and that did happen, but yet they see you doing all that stuff. But what did happen before that? Were you always like, which is something similar I spoke about the fact that I suffered alone with this thing. And yet I was in the middle of a rehearsal, going through all these different things and not a soul.
That's what I was wondering. Like, you could be your own character on your own podcast. You could interview yourself.
Whoa, that's new. That's new, Jason. Jason, that's bad. Whoa. Yeah. For real.
All right. This has been quite a journey. I think every time I have somebody on, like, the bar goes up and up. And I learn so much more.
Yeah.
I learned so much. Like, Philip, I can't thank you enough. We can't thank you enough for, again, accepting this invitation.
You're welcome.
Right? You could have said no.
My pleasure. Yes, I could have.
Right? But this is...
Especially because I'm not 100 today.
Right. You're right.
I would have never known.
Okay.
Never.
It's the performance coach.
Tell people how they can reach you, please.
So you can reach me on my Instagram page. That's at Philip A.L. Clarke. And it's Philip with one L and Clarke with an E. At Philip A.L. Clarke. But I also have a website, www.philipalclarke.com. You can go on that website and you will see where you can contact me. You send me an email and we'll start the journey.
And think of it like this, people. If you're doing presentations for work, think of it as a performance. Reach out to him.
Yeah? Yes. Yes, I perform every day.
If you're presenting at a conference, a seminar, whatever it is, you can also use his services.
Thank you, Verol.
You're welcome, Philip. People, it has been quite an episode. Philip has shared a lot with us. I've taken so much from what you said. Having a support system, very helpful. Needing the time and the space to process difficult information. So therapy is not if you think you have a mental illness, it can also be helping you adjust, process new information like a recent diagnosis. Also, just going and doing your own research, reaching out to people to find out more information about whatever it is. So pretty much Philip took it. It was a journey for him, for sure, but he took it upon himself to learn more. And I think that's what I know we advocate, for you to know more about what is happening with you. And I think one of the things I really liked is that you push to have a relationship with your healthcare provider. And I think, especially at this time of life, in your adult years, I think that is very important for us to do. To have that steady person as much as you can, where you can build that relationship with.
Yeah.
What is it, Jason?
I can't add anything else to that. I agree with everything you said. Personally, I'm very humbled that you would choose to share this with us. You know, you didn't have to, and it was something very personal to you. But you're choosing to share it with us. You're choosing to share it with these guys watching, and honestly, we can't thank you. We can't thank you more than. Well, we could thank you more than we are. We really could. But honestly, thank you very, very much, Philip.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, so this has been another episode of Unheard. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. Especially this episode, there's so much. I think everybody can get something from today and share with your brethren and adults from you hit 30, I would say. No, from you hit your 20s because of the prostatitis, right? We all need to be aware of this as men. Women, you need to be aware of this to pressure the men, get them into the medical professionals so that they can get tested, get the help that they need. All right, so again, thanks Philip and Verol.
I'm Jason.
And we are from Dr. Katie Morgan and Associates, KAHLE Journey Limited. Pick up yourself. Until next time, take care.